Hi, I'm Bob Nystrom.
Hi, this is Bo Dietl.
Hey, this is Rich Big Daddy Salgado.
Hi, this is Don Goodney, and you're watching Sports Biz.
Sports Biz.
Sports Biz with LD.
Sports fans, this is Sports Biz with LD.
Welcome to Sports Biz with LD. I'm your host, Larry Davis, brought to you by the Rampart Insurance Group. For all your insurance needs, rampartinsurance.com. A1 VIP Entertainment. For all your tickets and VIP needs, you need to meet someone, you need tickets, A1 VIP Entertainment is your place. 388 Restaurant and Lounge, located at 388 Willis Avenue, Roslyn, New York. And Easy Porn Corporation with 14 locations throughout the city. You have something that's worth something, go into any Easy Porn location and they will give you cash on the spot. And of course, the Daily Blue. Without the Daily Blue, we would not be seen. You can always go to my website, Sports Biz with LD. You could tweet at Sports Biz with LD, and of course the Facebook, Sports Biz with LD. Of course, we got a big show for you. We're waiting for a friend of the show and a friend of mine, Jimmy Spence of JSA Authentic Autographs, to call in. While we're waiting for Jimmy, of course, Off My Chest is something we do every week, and there's just so much to talk about as usual. So I guess let's get right into it and talk about the Jets. The Jets at 1-8 are it's just an embarrassment. Every week it's the same old song and dance. All Rex wants to say is the Jets, we practice hard, we're playing hard, we're doing everything but not winning. The talent level of the Jets is bad. The players are playing bad. The coaches are coaching bad. Can anyone just say the Jets stink? I mean, just say it already. Why can't everybody just own up to the Jets are terrible? They can't beat a team in this league except for the first game of the year. They beat the Raiders, the Raiders are still winless as we are on the air. You got Jacksonville with one win. Jets terrible. I don't know who they can beat. I don't recall a team losing 9 straight, which is going to happen this week when the Pittsburgh Steelers come into Giant Stadium. You can call it MetLife, but I've said before I'll always call it Giant Stadium. And everyone with their terrible towels. There'll probably be more Steeler fans in the stadium than Jet fans. Jet fans are selling their tickets as fast as they got them. And Steeler fans travel throughout the country. That's the thing about Steeler fans. They have their own little nation going on. Steeler fans are everywhere. And Ben Roethlisberger, starting quarterback, who's just been breaking records lately, Offensive Player of the Week 2 weeks in a row, threw 6 touchdown passes in back-to-back games. That's right, 6 in each game. Has said that he feels when they're on the road, a lot of times they go into these different stadiums and it feels like a home game. Well, it's going to feel like one this week. Because like I said, any Jet fan who's got a ticket is probably selling. Jet fans aren't looking to go. I don't know who would want to go. And don't tell me, oh, I'm the biggest Jet fan. If you're the biggest Jet fan and you're still looking to go, you got nothing going on Sunday. Because there's no reason to waste your day to watch these Jets who are just terrible. And it's really interesting because the spread's only 4 points. Or maybe it's changed to 3 as we're taping, as we're live. I don't know. There's something up that, and Vegas usually is not wrong. I don't know. To me, it's a double-digit game. I think the Steelers are going to blow the Jets out. I don't think the Jets are going to do anything against the Steelers. Steelers are a very, very good team now. They weren't in the beginning of the year, but now it just seems like everything is clicking and they're playing so well. And again, like I said earlier, Roethlisberger is just finding every target he has. When it's from the running backs to the receivers to the tight end, Ben is just going back into that pocket and feeling so comfortable, and he's being able to put the ball all over the field and put up some big numbers. You know, let's talk about the John Idzik I don't know how to even say it, the embarrassment of him as a GM, which Woody Johnson hiring him is a joke in itself. And his press conference 2 weeks ago, an embarrassment is just being nice for John Idzik. So after that, some fans got together and created a website, firejohnidzik.com, where people donated money because these guys wanted to send a plane over the practice field of the Jets, and they did it the other day. And the photo that they're showing on the screen is of Idzik looking up. And I thought Rex was looking up too in this particular photo. I don't think he was, but he looked up. They both saw it. And what could they say? And then at Rex's press conference, of course, he had to make a joke. Of course, he's trying to say, I'm glad it's not me that they're saying fire, even though he will be fired at the end of the year. But John Idzik has just done a terrible job. Terrible. I mean, what move did he do that has changed the Jet franchise for the better? It's back to the same old Jets. That's really what it is. It's the same old Jets. Nothing has changed. You had Rex come in here and talk a big game. I'm not kissing Belichick's rings and all the other stuff Rex wanted to babble about. But, you know, my problem with Rex is, and there's a few, and I had said he should have been fired last year. But Rex, first couple of years, any question anyone asked, you answered the question honestly, brashly. Everyone loved that. Now you dance around every question. Is there a question you'll answer? You don't answer anything. It's the same old thing, like I said earlier when we started the show. We're practicing hard. I believe in my play. Who do you believe in? Is there one guy on this roster that another team will take? Yeah, maybe two. Maybe Muhammad Wilkerson. Maybe Sheldon Richardson. Who else do you want on this team? Who? Now Percy Harvin, maybe. I don't know. There's no one on this team that anybody really wants, or that can go and start for another team in this league, unless it's the worst teams in the league, and like we said earlier, the Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Jets. There's no one on this team. Woody Johnson needs to clear house, get rid of Rex, get rid of Idzik, and bring in a guy like Bill Cowher, who's doing TV now, and he's all over the commercials. You see him. Bring in a Bill Polian, who was the architect of the great Colts teams. Bring in a guy with full autonomy who can make all the decisions, which I think Woody does do with his guys, and let them pick the head coach. Because they got to feel comfortable. Idzik is not a fan of Rex as his choice. Became a fan of Rex, but not going to be a fan of Rex. Team's terrible. I mean, Rex, you're a defensive coordinator. You cannot manage a team. You're not head coach material. Your under 500 record has proven it. You want to say it's the talent on the roster? Well, the talent you had when you went to AFC Championship games was Eric Mangini's team. And the GM that got fired when they brought in Idzik and kept you, Mr. Mike Tannenbaum. It wasn't you. You won with other people's players. And then you guys decided to change the team from the ground and pound that you had. Great defense, very good running game. I don't know what happened. It all went out the window. So the fire John Idzik banner is out there. A lot of times teams on a bye week, and the Jets have a bye week next week, so it's possible because Woody, they say, I don't know Woody, but they say that he, when he listens and hears the press and people talking, it gets him a little crazy, and this is getting him crazy because the Jets are the laughing stock of the NFL. Rex, Idzik, Woody, the whole thing. So sometimes, like I'm saying, at the bye week, an owner, general manager, whoever is making decisions will make a change. Keeping Idzik, I don't know what you're doing with him. Keeping Rex, you're in love with him. We all got you're in love with him. That's why you kept him last year. Rid of him. Guy doesn't know how to manage a game. Can't manage a team. Can't keep telling every player they're the best and he loves them and protecting them. Can't you go to a press conference and say, yeah, Gino stunk today. Gino, if you don't get better, you're not going to start. It's professional football, man. It's a business. If these guys can't handle that kind of criticism and it can only be done behind closed doors, then they shouldn't be professional athletes. They shouldn't be able to handle it. That's part of the game. Dealing with the media, dealing with the good, and dealing with the bad. You stink, you stink. What's wrong with that? You know it. Tell them. What player on this team, Rex, is any good? I really don't know any. We switch right here and we'll talk about the Giants. Unfortunately, we can say that about the Giants as well. Are they as bad as the Jets? No. But, how many plays on the Giants would other teams want? Probably less than 10. I mean, you got to love Eli. Eli's Eli. He'll always be great. Two-time Super Bowl winning MVP quarterback. Can't say anything about Eli. Even though in the last 5 years he's led the league in interceptions, a little known stat people don't talk about it in turnovers, but still Eli. Still win a game for you. Giants, what else they got? Odell Beckham Jr., love him. Love him. Get the ball to him. The rest of the receivers, all they're doing is dropping the ball against the Colts. How many drops the Giants receivers have? 5, 6, 7? And you got to love that about Eli. You couldn't even tell. Can't even tell. Eli, same when he throws a touchdown or throws an interception. The guy is very even keel. On defense, where is JPP? I haven't seen JPP all year. I don't know where he is because I haven't seen him. Talks a big game like in today's paper. He's talking about everyone's got to have heart. JPP had one season. What have you done lately? Who is on the Giants? Antrell Roll? Okay. Who else? Who's on this team? It's not good. Jerry Reese has put together a ball club that doesn't have the talent. It's not going to win. Giants 3-5. I don't know how many games they can win on their schedule. So the Jets are going to probably lose out. Giants might win a couple more. Football in New York is not good. It's like baseball in New York. Not good. So the Jets and Giants are not in good position. Excuse me, definitely the Jets are a lot worse than the Giants because the Giants have a franchise quarterback. And they have looks like a franchise receiver. Jets, I don't think they have a franchise anything. Let's move on, talk a little bit more football. Unfortunately, whenever you talk football, the number one sport in America, there's so many bad things going on there legally that we got to keep talking about it. Adrian Peterson, star running back of Minnesota Vikings, who was on a special exemption on a paid leave. I think the guy's salary cap hit is like $8 million a year. He's still getting paid by the Vikings, even though he's not playing. Must be nice. I think he gets a game check as $500,000 a game, something crazy like that. I think that's right. It adds up to $8 million. He pleads no contest to one-count misdemeanor reckless assault in his child abuse case. Like I said, he's on paid leave with the Vikings. There's a chance he can be activated this season. Does Minnesota activate him? I don't know. They're not that good as it is. They're two running backs that they haven't done a bad job. I mean, they're not Adrian Peterson. Let's not kid ourselves. Adrian Peterson is one of the best running backs in the NFL, if not the best running back in the NFL. Did he activate him? I think, again, it's a business decision. It's a PR decision. Do they put something on the website, send it out to the fans on their Twitter, Facebook, and say, should we let Adrian Peterson back? Listen, we do live in a world of second chances. The tough thing is when you do something to a kid. Very tough thing. But maybe they let him sit out the rest of the season, and then they bring him back. Tough call for the Vikings, but they're not going anywhere. I think they're also 3-5. So they're not going to make the playoffs, and they got Teddy Bridgewater as the quarterback trying to develop him. Not much talent on the Vikings. You got Adrian Peterson. That's probably it. So will they bring him back? Do they not bring him back? That is the new question. We won't know for a couple of weeks. The NFL is saying now that he did this and pleaded no contest, so now they have the legality stuff put away. Now that's what happens with the NFL. Now they look into it themselves. It's not quick. It might be a couple of weeks. We're already in week 10 of the NFL season. So with 6 games left, 6, 7 games left, depending on the team. So who knows what they'll do? My guess is I would just sit him out the rest of the year. You're paying him anyhow. It's not going to change anything. Time heals all wounds. Why don't you just wait for next year, Ziggy Wolf and your brother who own the Minnesota Vikings? Like we said, you talk NFL, you got to talk legalities. Let's talk Ray Rice. They hired an independent judge, independent arbitrator, whatever you want to say it, a woman named Barbara Jones. Last couple of days, she heard Ray Rice's account. Ozzie Newsome, who's the GM of the Baltimore Ravens, Ray Rice's wife, Juanita, and Roger Goodell in the NFL tried to get Roger out of testifying in this arbitration. Barbara Jones said, no, you're testifying. So our Commissioner Goodell, was there for over 2 hours getting grilled. One of the things that came out of that, Ozzie Newsome, the GM, says he heard Ray Rice tell Roger Goodell that he did hit his, at that point, fiance, who is now his wife. He says he heard that. They're saying, the leaks out there saying Roger Goodell said he didn't tell him that. Ray Rice is going to say he did, and Juanita, his wife, is going to say he did. And again, I guess that stuff is not taped. You know, you go into the commissioner's office, it's between you and them. So now she's got a decision to make. Could take a week, could take 2 weeks. But he is not going back to the Ravens. Ray Rice was cut from the Ravens. So then he'll be able to go to any team out there that wants him. Does anyone want him in mid-season? Who knows? Is he in football shape? Hasn't played. Teams need help. Will they reach out to Ray Rice? Will they want to deal with the whatever repercussions might come from this? From advocates like women's groups who, you got to agree with them. They're absolutely right. And other groups, you don't have to be a woman to say this was horrendous what he did. Ugly. No one likes it. Do you just let him sit out a year and no one touch him and let him come back next year? That's my take on those. I don't touch these players. Next year's another year. Give people a second chance. Time will heal some of the wounds. You're still not going to forget that. Let them come back next year. See what's going on. What team might be interested in these players? Who needs them? Because, again, the Vikings can take Adrian Peterson back. He is already on their payroll. Ray Rice is cut. He is not going back to the Ravens. The Ravens do not want to be anywhere near this situation. And you know something? They said we're family. You love Ray Rice. We're all like family. So Ray Rice could use that and say, hey, we're family. Why don't you take me back? I made a mistake. We'll see what happens with them. I don't really know. It doesn't seem like Ray Rice said anything bad or mean or nasty towards the Ravens. So again, maybe after a while, offseason comes, they talk, Ravens bring him back, and the Ravens are going to get a discount here. Everyone's going to get a discount. I think Ray Rice had like a $40 million deal, which again, let's not forget, everything isn't guaranteed. But he was getting paid. I don't see other teams doing it. I don't know other teams have to. You can give him X amount of dollars with incentives and let him prove himself out of football for a year. He's young, so it probably won't be a problem. But if teams don't want to touch him and deal with the PR, which is not going to be good, he needs to sit out this year. Both of them need to sit out the rest of the year and see what happens next year. Let's move on to a little baseball. As we still wait for Jim Spence to call in, I mean, he had told me he's in Cabo in Mexico. And, you know, the text, we went back and forth. We both understood it was Eastern Standard Time. He told me 1 o'clock Cabo time, which is 3 o'clock here in New York. I hope he didn't mean 3 a.m. because that's not going to happen. But let's go to Joe Madden. In the photo you see here, you have Joe Madden with Theo Epstein. If you remember Theo Epstein, he was the architect of the Red Sox when they won a few World Series in the last few years, beating the Yankees and some other teams along the way. Then he left to take over the Cubs. Started building the Cubs through the draft. A lot of hitters instead of pitching. You know, like the way the Mets do it. The Mets do it through pitching. The Cubs decided to do a lot of hitters they have. They're a young team and they're losing a lot. And there's something fishy going on what happened here with Joe Madden. When the general manager, Andrew Friedman, left Tampa Bay to go with the Dodgers to become the president of baseball operations. And the story is out there that Joe Madden didn't even realize that in his contract he had an out clause that if Andrew leaves as the GM, he's a free agent. So he exercised that clause, goes and speaks to the Devil Rays, Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays, they say, bump him up from $1.8 million he was making to $3 million a year. They say he turned it down. All of a sudden, a couple days later, got a $5 million a year deal. 5 years, $5 million. Makes him right up there with the top 5 paid manager in baseball, which he deserves. Joe Madden is an excellent manager. And by the way, that's going to help the Yankees. Because now with Tampa Bay not having a guy like him, because I believe this guy's worth 3 to 5 wins a year. And just the way he develops talent and talks to people. That guy's just one of the top managers in baseball. Helps the Yankees, because what's going to happen in Tampa Bay? Who are they going to pick? I don't know. Right now, whoever they pick is not going to be a Joe Madden. But let's get back to what he did with the Cubs. So, there wasn't any tampering going on here. Now listen, tampering is they got to find a text, an email, a voicemail. Listen, I'm sure Theo Epstein and a lot of guys today are a lot smarter than that. They'll reach out through someone else, have them call this particular phone number, whatever. I'm sure they can. So it'll be very hard for Tampa Bay, which I think is going to file some tampering charges with Major League Baseball to prove it. But how many jobs are really open when he decided to be a free agent? And would Joe Madden have sat out the year? Maybe. Seems like all these TV gigs in all sports are a landing gig for coaches. Just sit there for a year, 2 or 3, whatever they want. Kick it around, make some money, not the kind of money you make as being a manager or a head coach in these different sports leagues. And enjoy it, love it, not as much pressure, talk about the game, be around the game. Something's up. Something's up. You know, and then people are upset that the manager of the Cubs, who had 2 years left on his contract, that's not the right thing for Joe Madden to get someone else's job. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? Guy had a job, they wanted someone else, and they got fired. He didn't get fired and not get paid. He's getting paid. I think it was Edgar Renteria, I think the gentleman's name was, who was the manager. And the Cubs felt they got Joe Madden. They got to go for it. And that's when you got to bring up the Mets. The Mets immediately, when he became a free agent, Joe Madden, we don't want him. We have Terry Collins. Not disrespect Terry Collins. At only $1 million a year with a 1-year deal. So it's not like the Mets are eating a lot. What? You got Joe Madden. You're a young team. Look what he can do for a ball club. And you don't want any part of it. You immediately, Sandy Alderson, say you don't want Joe Madden? Well, one of the superstar managers, you get an opportunity to get him. And that just shows again, what are the Mets thinking? And again, no diss to Terry Collins, but Terry Collins is here. Joe Madden is here. Joe Madden's not going anywhere. Terry Collins would like to stay there, but Terry Collins hasn't proven to be such a great manager. Sandy Alderson likes him because he picked him and he does what he say, but he's good. He's not Joe Madden. And the other thing at the press conference, you see Joe Madden, not even dressed like other managers would be with the shirt and the tie and professional. He's got the shirt, it's hanging out. And they did the press conference at I think it was the Cubby Bear or something like that bar right across from Wrigley Field. And in the press conference, he told everybody there, I'm buying everyone a round of shots and beers. You got to love that. Listen, you got to love Joe Madden. Was there tampering? I think so. They'll probably get away with it. But Theo Epstein just shows that he's going for it now, finally. If he's trying to straighten the Cubs out, he went and got one of the best managers in baseball to come help him run the Chicago Cubs franchise that, if I recall, has not won a World Series since 1906. And I remember years ago when I was at Steiner Sports and the 2004 Red Sox won, and I did a lot of TV and radio, and we were selling so much merchandise from the Boston Red Sox, and people were saying to me, this will never happen again. This was in 04. This will never happen again. The way everything from that clubhouse we were able to sell, any autograph, everything was selling Boston Red Sox. And I turned to everybody right away, and anyone who asked me that question, and I said, no, it'll happen again when the Cubs win. When the Chicago Cubs win a World Series, it would be out of control in one of the biggest markets in the country. New York, LA, Chicago. Cub fans are like Yankee fans, which they never won. You know, that loyalty that's out there, which you don't find. The Cub fans are going to go crazy if they can win. And Theo Epstein trying to make that happen with the hiring of Joe Madden and all the other stuff he's trying to do. Love the move, Theo. Don't love the non-move by Sandy Alderson. Huge college football weekend this year as we close out the show. 4 games with the top 15 teams playing against each other. Ohio State, number 14, playing Michigan State. Both teams are 7-1 and 4-0 in the Big Ten. Both have big-time players. Connor Cook for MSU, the quarterback's at 1,868 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 5 INTs. And the OSU quarterback, JT Barrett, 1856, right about the same, 23 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. That's a great game. Then you got number 12 Baylor against number 15 Oklahoma. Baylor's averaging 50 points a game. But they need a win to stay alive in the playoff hunt because now it's the Final Four in college football like they do in the college basketball. TCU playing Kansas State. Kansas State's number 7, TCU number 6. The winner's the front runner to win the Big 12 title. Could also crack the top 4 in the playoff poll. Trevon Boykin, the TCU quarterback, lighting it up. 2,500 yards, almost 2,500, 22 touchdowns. And then number 10, Notre Dame versus number 9, Arizona State. Well, my boy, our producer, Andy, his place, that's him. He went to Arizona State. That's his boys playing in Tempe. Both those teams need a win to play in the playoff hunt in that 4-team race. They need it bad. Notre Dame's only loss was to Florida State. ASU lost to UCLA. This is big. ASU's big players, Jalen Strong, the wide receiver, 821 yards, 8 TDs. Marcus Hardison, defensive lineman, has 5 sacks. Notre Dame, Everett Golson, who's back after sitting out last year for academic problems, 2,300 yards, 22 touchdowns. And Matthias Farley, the cornerback, 2.5 sacks and 2 INTs. It is a big college football weekend. And just like that one, my buddy Jimmy Spence didn't call, so we're going to have to get him again because there's a lot to talk about with him. With Jameis Winston autographs, Johnny Manziel, and everything else he does with his cool company. Like again, he told me he's in Mexico in Cabo. Maybe he's on the beach and drinking too much. Didn't realize he had to call in. Wow, how quickly the show goes. I want to thank my sponsors. Rampart Insurance Group for all your insurance needs, rampartinsurancegroup.com. A1 VIP Entertainment, all your ticket and VIP needs, a1entertainment.com. 388 Restaurant and Lounge, 388 Willis Avenue in Roslyn, New York. And Easy Pawn Corp with 14 locations throughout the New York area. If you have something that's worth something and they agree with you, cash on the spot. Sports Biz with LD, you can always see here on the Daily Blue, sportsbizwithld.com on the website. Tweet me at sportsbizwithld and the Facebook, Sports Biz with LD. We will see you next week.
Sports Biz is sponsored by the Rampart Insurance Group for all your insurance needs. Special thanks to mintpros.com. Brought to you by the Daily Blue Network. Sports fans, this is Sports Biz with LD.